I heard that comment too.
Yeah.
It keeps growing and growing and growing.
And it's not a matter of boasting, but like you said,
But it's explosive.
You can take somebody from post office.
That, we're just another insurance agent.
All right, hello everybody. I am Ted Wilson Jr. I'm the president of Universal Benefits. We're coming to you all today out there in internet land, web land, talking to licensed life insurance agents and just talking to maybe somebody who's unlicensed, but mainly to licensed life insurance agents. Boy, what a great podcast we got coming today. I've got some distinguished guests here to part some wisdom with all agents out there, no matter what company you're with. I have Mr. Bill Wormley, who's been a tremendous asset here with us at UBI. I have Ms. Patricia Leak, another tremendous asset, explosive growth here the past few years with us. She's going to bring a unique woman's perspective to the business. Then I have Mr. Bobby Diggs, explosive growth here with us in the final expense industry. Bobby, it's pretty hard to describe what this guy has done with the company in the past 7 or 8 years. Then we have the great Mr. Vince King. Vince King, been here in the final expense business now for about 12 years, been here at UBI, going on his 3rd year, the fastest man to grow to director status here with us at the company. Great guy. Then we have almost a guy who's been here with a unique perspective, Mr. Rodney Richburg, almost been here 25 years. How many years, Rod? How many years?
30 years to be exact.
Oh wow! Okay, brother, I didn't want to tell you age. I didn't want to tell you age, but you're still a very young man. 30 years. Rodney and I went to school together, and I believe Rodney, you got contracted here before me. I think you started working here before me, right? That's right. That's right. Then we got the great Dr. Dale Hawkins, who pours in millions and millions of dollars of final expense premium, the first guy at UBI, well actually maybe the second guy behind Dr. Ted Wilson Sr. to start hitting $1 million a month. $1 million a month. And I want you all to know $1 million a month in final expense sales with a high persistency, that's very difficult to do. It is very, very difficult to do. A lot of people, they're like this. They're up and down with their sales, up and down. They may hit $1 million. They may stay there a couple of years, 2 or 3 years, but this guy has consistently been producing 10, 12, $15 million a year for the past several years. And then we got the great Chris Scholl, a gentleman I tried to bring over here about 4 years ago. Chris decided to finally make the change. He's here at UBI, and his next step is an MGA with our company. Great person, good Christian man. We're glad to have him here on the team. So, ladies and gentlemen, hey, as president of UBI, one of the big things that I do, I speak with roughly 5,000 to 10,000 agents a year. Believe it or not. Now, I didn't say I recruit that many or bring that many to the company, but I speak with, I train, I motivate, I mentor, and of course, you know, I try to bring people to the company. And oh boy, I tell you all, our industry now these days is certainly changed from when I started. And you know, I started back in the mid-90s, got real serious with it in the early 2000s, and here we are in this year, and it seems like the agency has had all these different changes. But one thing about our body, and
Well, I've been here. We're going into my 8th year in April, and I say our because it's always me and my wife, right? So it's like, it's not it's our money, but our 1099 has gone up consecutively every single year, and got into 6 figures into the 3rd year, and then the front number has changed for the last 3 years consecutively. So it is absolutely tremendous. I mean, the system that's in place here, just by following the system, it rewards you. It rewards hard work. You know what I mean? yeah, my wife's very happy about it.
I'm
So after I was here for 3 years, she was able to fire her job early, and it was really because of the income that we were generating here. It replaced her job income that she hated going to. So she used to get up at the crack of dawn every single day. So now she can get up when she finishes sleeping. So it's a different kind of situation. But then she joined the business, so she gets up at the crack of dawn again. But she gets to see my smiling face, right?
That's
so
right, that's
yeah,
right.
it's absolutely tremendous. So I'm looking forward to that 20-year story like you had, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
we getting there. But yeah, it's an absolute amazing financial opportunity. It's changed the financial trajectory for our family, and even for the things we do for our children, for our grandchildren. We've got 7 grandkids. It is opened up a world of options for us that I don't think we would have experienced anywhere else.
That's right. That's right. Miss Lee, you got a unique story to tell. I know 3 or 4 years ago, you were working another opportunity, and now I do know your income. You don't have to tell your income, but just talk about your 1099 growth doing final expense in our system.
Well, you do know my income, and thanks for not sharing it, because people be asking for a loan. But,
Let me hold something. No.
exactly. But being here with UBI less than 3 years, it'll be 3 years come June, my income has grown $50,000 to $75,000 every year. I am truly blessed the fact that when I was with corporate America, as I was just thinking, for 10 years, my income didn't change, because 3% didn't make a difference, but to be able to give yourself a $50,000 increase every year, it's amazing.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
It is amazing. We're amazing and highly blessed. Mr. Diggs, I never forget. I like how you put your story about your 1099. How do we say it? The polite way to say I'm broke is I'm financially challenged.
Financially challenged. Yeah, when I came here, and it's just a blessing. I thank God for bringing me here to UBI. When I came here, I was financially challenged, and all that means is we were broke.
That's right. That's
And
right.
I was tired of having to tell Angie no when I wanted to say yes to her. No, we can't do this. No, we can't go here. We can't have that. But just plugging into the leaders here, this great company UBI, our 1099 has increased 6 figures every year for the last 8 years. So now we're able to say yes to a lot of things, help a lot of people in the community. So it's been a tremendous blessing.
Yes, sir. Brother, I saw your 1099 about 2 weeks ago, and it almost knocked me back in my chair. That's crazy. You are in the 0.5% of what people make in the United States of America. You're in that 0.5% now. So it's doggone crazy, man. It's doggone crazy. And I know you said that you wanted to, by your 10th year, you wanted to be cruising at $1 million, and you're close. You're close. Mr. Vince
God is
King.
good.
Yes, sir. God is good. Like Don King says, huh?
All the time.
Not only in America. All right,
Yes,
Mr.
sir.
Vince King. Now, I saw your 1099 last year.
Yeah.
I ain't seen it this year.
Yeah.
I saw it last year.
Yeah.
And that was your
First full year.
Yeah, that was your first full year.
Yeah.
Now, I hadn't seen your old 1099 with the thing. This was your new one.
Yeah.
So, you doing pretty doggone good. And so, but does it grow every year?
I mean, it's like Mr. Diggs said, it's just some nature of what the system provides. I mean, I tell people this is not easy, but it's worth it. Mm-hmm. And when you understand it, you know how to apply it. And so I think that's one of the beautiful things about UBI. I mean, sitting around this table, people will expect us to be able to say that we have great 1099s, and I mean, documentation doesn't beat conversation. We don't have to be like some people where we flamboyantly have to tell you on camera. But if you ever came to a place where you really needed to know, we can show you. We're not hiding it. It's just that it's not everybody's business, right? Mm-hmm. But one of the things that I'm blessed to say that not just us sitting at this table, but I know just for us having been here almost 3 years, like Ms. Leek said in June, I know not just for myself and not for Ms. Leek, but we have 8 to 9 other people who within their first year made over $100,000, and a lot of those individuals are over 200, some pushing $300,000 in their second full year. So if that's any indication of,
It's crazy.
you know, of what's here amongst us. I mean, I just actually sat here in this same room a little while ago, and we was interviewing a gentleman that came up, and he's been in the industry for a number of years and doing all kinds of businesses, has about 30 contracts right now, and he just kind of said what his income was, and I was kind of blown away. That in that amount of time, the most that he's seen is $180,000.
I heard that comment too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
30 contracts, 20 plus years in the
He's
business.
got 30 contracts, and his top income was $180.
$180,000. So that lets you know whenever that's really what we consider to be the standard of you just getting started here.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if anybody want to go back and play back what Mr. Diggs said about his. He said his income has increased 6 figures over the last 8 years. Now, anybody that's a mathematician,
I was at.
I don't even think you realize what he said. So, I mean, but it is a tremendous blessing to be in this predicament, and I'm glad that Dr. Wilson, yourself, and our executive vice president have paved the way for so many of us to be able to be here.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man. Appreciate it. Mr. Richburg, man, let me say, and again, on the podcast, I'm gonna call you out. I'm gonna call you out. Now, when you started with us, you were with another outfit, and we're not here to beat nobody up, but you were with another outfit, and Rodney, I remember those days that you put the fake tags on the back of your car.
You remember that, huh? Everybody knows that.
You had the fake tags on the back of your car.
Yes, sir.
And man, you were scuffling and you were trying to get it up off the ground, but it started clicking with final expense here at UBI. And one thing I tell people about you, and again, we don't talk about incomes. I know your income, your 1099 and your family's 1099 is growing. Because one of the things that I'm proud about, when agents here can live in my neighborhood with me, and when agents have, their house is bigger than mine, and when agents work here, can send their kids to school with my kids. See, Rodney's kid goes to school with my kid. Okay? His house is probably twice the size of my house, right? All right? So we got to be doing something right. So just talk about it, bro.
Man, I can remember that day. I can remember the cardboard and the black Sharpie.
Yeah.
So I would change the tag. I would literally, guys, change the tag every 30 days. You know, it's like, you get a 30-day tag, right, from the DMV. So I would change the tag every 30 days because I didn't have the money. You know, I didn't have it. And from then, my God, to where we are today, it's just amazing. You know, the 1099 keeps growing and growing and growing. And truthfully, the simplicity of watching it grow and watching the teammates, you know, several $100,000 year after year after year. I tell you guys, I think it's just it's the greatest opportunity that anyone can ever imagine. If you're in my position, looking out of my windshield and watching what I had to watch and look at what I had to look at, and now to see the results from this corporation, Universal Benefits, and turning the life around of many, many Americans, many people, it's amazing. I'm just glad to be able to say to everybody, come here, the 1099s will increase all day. All day, every day. So I'm just on.
So we're not talking, none of us are talking up here in 21, down here in 22,
No.
back here in 22, back down here in 24, and hoping to maybe get it back up. No, we're talking,
Consistency.
yeah, consistent climb.
Consistent climb.
Yeah, consistent climb. Dr. Dale Hawkins, man, I mean, probably the biggest 1099 at the table. I heard him on the phone the other day. Him and Cynthia were coming down here. They and this guy too came over from financial services. And how y'all making all that money with them little small policies like that, right? Okay. He didn't overthink it. He kept it simple. He dumbed it down and figured it out. But I heard him and Cynthia on the phone the other day. They in the house arguing about you can drive the Porsche, the Mercedes, the Bentley, where the keys at, this. I was like, okay, this 1099 doing real good. When you can argue about the Bentley, the Porsche, no, the Mercedes locked in, move that out the way, move this, and do that. That's a good argument. That's a good argument to have for your wife. That's a good argument to have.
Argument again.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Ted, I was thinking about that as we were talking about people.
Right.
And we were on the phone.
Right.
And I said, man, I'm going to talk about that because, you know, what kind of problems do people have?
Right.
And she was like agitated because she just won't know which one I wanted to drive. And so I want to say that options is really what you get when you find the right kind of company, the right kind of organization. The 1099, you know, once you grow for a period of time, validating that is important because people have a real life and they're real serious about it. And it's not a matter of boasting, but like you said, people don't want to talk about it because maybe they don't have the receipts. And so I know this company, this organization, for the people that follow our system do have the receipts, but what I want to say that's so important to me is that we have 50 people that through this system, we've helped earn from $100,000 to $1 million, and we have 5 people that make over $800,000. And so, you know, a lot of times there's one person that has done well, and that's fine. We're happy for that one person. But the results are in, as Rodney said earlier, to see other people that come inside of the system, where a lot of people say, well, you know, this is the only person who can make any money. Well, we're the exact opposite of that. We have a plethora of people that not just at this table, but also outside this table with lots of people that have a tremendous income, and it's been going up each year. I was at the jeweler, and we give away rings, $100,000, $300,000 rings, and you know, I thought the most expensive diamond I've ever bought was my wife's diamond. Okay, about $25,000. Okay, and I remind her to shine it. And my jeweler reminded me yesterday, he said, you just love buying rings. And we just went to 500,000 plus rings for our directors. And I was telling Bobby, I said, man, I gave him $9,700 the other day for some more rings. He said, you love buying rings, but really and truly, we get to do that. Because people do like Ms. Leaks and everybody around here to make that kind of income.
That's right. That's right.
We thank you for the opportunity, and then bring it to the community.
Yes, right.
Because you know we're not a company that we're not a circus and a fair. We don't have smoke and mirrors. We're just like
this old boring old fountain pen. That's right.
Same sexy.
Yes. Same sexy.
Not enough health question.
That's right. Mr. Shull, I know you were doing some big things in real estate a few years ago. Then you got in the final expense business with another outfit. That just kind of worked out. That's fine, but you made it here. And I know your income. I know your 1099, and I've seen it grow and explode, and it's consistent with what I like to call concrete in the ground. It's not a house of cards. So talk about that with your 1099 a little bit.
So I think one of the most exciting things about it is I know because of the system that's already here, already in place, I can explode that at any time. It's not just growth, but it's explosive growth. And thanks to Mr. Hawkins over here, who's been teaching me and mentoring me, the system's already in place. It's just a matter of how do you explode it. And you got to have a good mentor. I mean, you've got to have somebody who's teaching you, who's said, hey, I've already been down that path, don't do that, do this instead because this works. And just having somebody that actually has already walked the road and is making the kind of income that you want to make is right there, and he'll say, here's what we need to do. I mean, mine will grow $100,000 this year.
That's right. That's right. So we're well on the way, and like I said, what I love about everybody around this table and our agents is even if you have a year to equal on our system, even if you write the same amount of business, or if you did slightly less than you did the year before, your income is going to still grow.
That just shows how powerful the UBI system is.
Yes, yes.
And anyone can come from any background, and they can come here and they can win.
They can
And
win.
there's so many examples of successes.
Right. You know, Bobby, again, across the industry, I talk to so many people. They say, Mr. Wilson, I made $170 last year. I made $500,000. I made $250,000. What are you making this year? 40, 50, 70, 80. Well, what happened? System got pulled out from up under me. The system that I was on. So, you know, next topic I want to talk about, guys. Why are the people you work with successful closers in our business? Because I tell agents all the time, there's a difference between selling, and then there's closing. So tell our audience out there, because there's a lot of people that want to see this, Bill, because a lot of agents are confused, they're hurting. Why did the agents you work with, why do you believe they can close so well?
That's a great question. And first of all, one word that's gone around this table since we've been sitting here is just having a system that works, right? When I first got here and I went to boot camp, and I got back from boot camp and I told my wife, I was like, we got something here, because this system that's here can take anybody who has a work ethic, who has a determination to change their life. And because of the simplicity and the power of the system, backed up by a company that actually does what they say they're going to do every single time, you can take somebody from the post office, you can take, it doesn't matter what their background is, and you can teach them the skill set. And along with that, having a company that does what they say they're going to do. And I don't know what everybody else, well, I know what some people's background is around this table, but I've worked for some companies that they didn't do what they promised they were going to do.
That's right.
And the goalpost kept moving. The goalpost hasn't moved one time since I've been here. And so I can stand on the fact that this is exactly who we are, this is what we do, backed up even with Lincoln Heritage in terms of what they do, how they pay claims, and how they pay our commissions, thank you, Lord. And the partnership with UBI, it's the best thing I've ever seen in my 50-something plus years of living, but my 40 years plus of working. The system works, and we have a system that trains the agents on how to be successful, you know, how to close. But it's a lot easier to close when you got something to close with. And we got something, when people look at it, they haven't seen anything like this. You know what I mean? No, they don't. We're not out here just selling insurance policies, right? But we're offering plans that are supporting these families, and we're developing relationships in the process. And as a result of that, it almost closes itself,
All right.
in my opinion.
Miss Lee, you write a ton of business. Your agents, you've got some agents that's got some real concrete in the ground. Why do you think our agents are great closers?
You know, just as Bill said, you know, we have a training system, not just a one-time training system. We believe that our training is continuous. It's continuous education. We have a field training system that we follow the selling cycle, and we take them through it. We also make sure that when anyone is not meeting their standard, we bring them back into training, which is like getting in the car. I mean, I love people in the car with me because it keeps me sharp. Any week I don't have anybody in the car, I put it in our chat, I need somebody in the car with me, because I get something out of it, they get something out of it. But in our boot camp, we have a system of teaching them all the objections that they would hear in the field, and we teach them how to go back and say, let's reconsider this. And we teach them specifically on how to get the check. You know, they're here to get paid. You know, and we're providing them with a service, a funeral plan, through our exclusive partnership with the Funeral Consumer Guardian Society. That's something nobody else is doing.
Right.
You know, we don't sell insurance, we sell funeral plans. And that helps with the closing, because without that, we're just another insurance agent. But we are final expense specialists, and that makes a difference.
100% correct.
Yeah, I think
Mr. Diggs, let me say this too. You got a young man on your team 25, 26, making $300,000 a year. Yeah, earning $300,000 a year. This guy is a closer. What's the unique formula? What's the formula of closing here with you and at UBI? Why are so many people your people can close?
I think with UBI, it starts from the beginning. From day one, we have a system that's in place with UBI where right away, you're not lost here. Mm-hmm. So, whatever your background is, you can come here and right away, as they said, you're going to get a 3-day boot camp training with our corporate trainers. They're going to teach you the ABCs and 1, 2, 3s about the business. Mm-hmm. They're going to teach you, all the things that are necessary in terms of closing. Mm-hmm. And I think just the effective training that is done here, not just at the boot camp, that's the beginning, mm-hmm. but the ongoing training mm-hmm. from week to week. Mm-hmm. And that's something that helped us and helped everyone that we share. And that's what we love, because some people go, I've never been in sales before. Mm-hmm. Hey, that's okay. Congratulations, you're going to be a winner here in UBI. Or I've been in sales before and didn't have success. Well, congratulations, you're going to be a winner here with UBI, because the system is tight. And all the necessary things are there for you. So all you have to do is plug in and learn. You'll grow and you'll win big.
Mm. Coach K in North Carolina. We got another Coach K here wearing his blue today. Yes, they call you Coach K. All right, Coach, you got a lot of people closing. You got a lot of people that's doing presentations. Yeah. And you all throughout our industry now, there's a lot of agents, and I want agents looking at this to understand. Now, you going to write your family and friends, that's great. That's your warm market. But we do far more than that here. That's not real closing. Mm-hmm. When you go write, your warm market. That's not real closing. Okay, that's fishing in your backyard, in your pond, with your worms. You know where the fish are gonna bite. The little half-acre pond you got in your backyard, right? Okay, people got in their backyard. They can go out and catch fish anytime they want.
And I got some hand grenades.
Right, but now, you got some hand grenades. But now, when you go to the 20,000 acre lake, that's when it gets real. Okay, so that's how this is. So tell me, you got a lot of people closing. You have people to make convention. Yeah. What's your theory on it?
We've already established that it's a system, but I'd like to take it a step further, that even before they get started, there's an expectation. And I think that the expectation has to be set so that way we can make sure that it's met. And so I think establishing an expectation with people, and I read something yesterday that just made a lot of sense to me. It says that if any organization wants to build momentum, get a bunch of people locked into their purpose. Mm. And it just made so much sense that whenever you get people locked into understanding what their purpose of being here is, then they take more emphasis and more pride into the training. They have more respect for the system. They have more respect for the process. They understand that whatever we're asking them to do, that it's not for just the benefit of us, but it's for the betterment of them. Because it's easy, quote unquote, to find somebody else to come and fill that spot. But what about the expectations that you had while you took ownership of the spot? Mm-hmm. And so I just think the reason why that we can have the amount of people that have the success that they have, because we set the expectation and we don't wait. You will quit on us before we quit on you. Yes. Mm-hmm. And that's really what happens. Mm-hmm. People quit on themselves before we quit on them, because we know what happens if you stick with it. Mm-hmm. And we're trying to help you get to that place of understanding what it is. And so I think it starts with the expectations, Mr. President.
Great. Mm-hmm. Rodney, you write a ton of business to telesales. And that's the big thing in the industry, Rodney. I get a lot of people to call me. They want to work remote, but they're frustrated. They can't close over the phone. In the industry now, unfortunately, there's people who's trying to get rich quick with the AI systems, where they want the doggone AI to actually call people, right? It calls people. And then a lot of them, the AI, they want the AI. I've seen some of them trying to do an AI system to where it's actually doing the presentation. And then the agent hops on the phone at the very end if the person wants to buy. Now, you know, agents are really crippling themselves with that type of stuff because it's so regulated and mixed up. How does your team close at the volume that they close by telesales?
I'll tell you, Mr. President, it's merely confidence. I mean, coming here, not knowing anything about anything, everyone feel that they can dial or make phone calls and make sales till the very second they get that client on the line. And it's, oh boy! You know, and it's not. And because of the UBI system and the training mechanism that instills that confidence, there's a thing that's called holding your hand. You know, UBI holds your hand. You know, we hold your hand until you get it. You know, we're not here to kind of run you off after 30, 60 days and it doesn't work out. Whether we're here for you. The company's been around 44 consecutive years simply because of building confidence in men and women like ourselves. So for me, building confidence, that's really was one of the main things that kind of held me down. I couldn't talk in front of people, literally. I couldn't talk. I was nervous to death. Didn't know I came here at 22 years of age or whatever, but following my leader, Dr. Wilson, all over the country, meeting after meeting after meeting, that built confidence. You know, talking to a group of 40 or 50 men and women and had to go on that stage and perform. So if you're looking to win, you know, UBI is the place. If you don't have the confidence, well, we have the master's degree to give it to you. Okay, so we know what we know, a training system that's just flat out immaculate. Many of our leaders already spoke about training. It's ongoing. It's all day, every day training. You know, from Zoom, from a webinar, from live in person, from riding in the car with your leader, from the mentorship from your director, from the ownership, from this huge first Friday meetings that we have every month. Training. You cannot fail here. You can't fail here. The consistency, again, of the training. You know, so I'll say to anybody, you know, if you're looking to kind of really do something in the filing expense business, and you want to come to an organization that's keen on training, and yes, we train on learning how to read 7 little health questions. Yeah, we need some training on that. Right? But lots of income, guys. 1099s falling off the page. So
That's right.
Building confidence, training system, and consistency.
That's right. Well, hey, we'll do 2 birds with 1 stone here. Dr. Hawkins, you and Chris, you guys work together in a division here at the company, and you guys, like I said, $1 million+ a month, every month. You got, you know, you guys are at the point now. It's not even 6 figures. That's not even a standard really for the agents you work with now. I mean, that's what we call here minimum wage. How are you guys producing so many closers? What I say closers. You know, people say, you know, agent, you know, a great agent, but really, you gotta learn how, in this business, you gotta learn how to close the deal. How are y'all producing so many closers?
Go ahead. Well, I just want to say that I'm waiting for Ryan to learn how to be able to speak so he can make 3 million. Very seriously, you know, the AI is real, Mr. President, and you know, so many people are looking for that, and I thought, you know, that's a great place to be. But with AI, with the robocalling thing, it's a great system, but every time you make a mistake, it costs you $45,000. Or $13,000 or $15,000, depends on which lawyer calls you. Yeah. And so that's too much of a challenge. And so to see, you know, Rodney show us how to do that, and it was really evident through the pandemic. We were able to do that with all of our agents, and we still did in a couple of years. We still did like $20 million in business, and so the agents can learn that. But what we really found out is that after the police said you can go back out and talk to people. 95% of the people want to close face to face. And they want to do that because the interaction with the relationships. And a lot of times people are joining organizations, and I've heard people that, you know, they live in California, but they're signing up somebody in Georgia. And there's no Patricia Leaks to put them in the car and work with them on that.
Right.
And so what I see is that people just, like Vince talked about, because it's not just a warm market. We do have a system after we show you how to take care of your family and friends, which is important, for people just to be able to slow down. And it looks like you're going slow, but you really, with the right kind of company, they're not trying to tell you about 17 different products or 17 different gimmicks to get a sale to close. And so a lot of times what I see is people, they're looking for that gimmick or that product or that company to be a sale.
Right.
And the difference is we slow down because we have somebody like a Chris Scholl that's on a weekly basis that's gonna tell what you do. You do it every day, all day long.
Yeah.
So I think it's difficult to train somebody if have never done it. And that's what we practice. I mean, no one's training anybody unless they've actually done it.
Oh,
And
Chris, stop right there.
Yes.
That's so important. People in our industry who are watching this, that testimony right there is so key. It's thousands and thousands of insurance agents who've been brought in by a rookie, somebody totally green, somebody who may have a great personality, a great gift of gab, but they haven't really had their nose bloody. Y'all know where I'm coming from, right? And I see so many agents, they're here today training a lot of people, and they themselves are out of the business. So one of the key things you all do in this division, you're not having any rookies training anybody that you bring in, correct?
Right.
Right. That's so powerful. But go ahead with your thought.
Well, so from the very beginning, when you start out with boot camp, like everybody's talking about, you've got dedicated field trainers that still go out and make sales. So I mean, they're training and they're still in the field actively, week in and week out. So when you've got people like that, when they're training, they know how to train. They know exactly what they're going to get because they're still getting the same objections. It's all the same stuff. And then when you've got a field trainer like myself, well, I'm going to take them out there. They're going to see it. I came from a place from another company that did not do field training at all. They sat you down for 3 hours and talked at you from somebody who didn't make sales either. And so there's no experience there. And I've had recently 3 agents that have come. One of them had 30 plus years in the industry. When he first came to boot camp, the very first thing he said was, I didn't think I was going to learn anything, but I learned a ton. Recently had another one who's had about 5 years experience, about the same as mine, came back and said the same thing. He said, I really thought I kind of knew it all, but what I got out was, he said, there's so much more. Not only that, but I'm very confident in bringing new people into the system because I learned a lot when I already knew a lot. And then we've got a brand new person who will write over 20, 25,000 this month, who's never sold anything a day in her life, who just came through the exact same training system. So I have 100% confidence when people come here, if they're not successful, it's their own fault. And it's a lack of work ethic, quite frankly.
Right. Because they're going to be put in a vehicle, or they're going to sit with somebody who knows who's a closer.
Exactly.
Got it.
And another thing I want to add to that, which is we kind of slide over that because of technology and AI, but having a physical place that people can come to and be able to be fundamentally trained because they pass the test, but that doesn't mean they can close. And so when they come to class, we call it money-making class, then they learn the things that they can tweak themselves on a weekly basis. So we tell people it takes about 1.5 years to get a master's degree.
Right.
Costs about $25,000. Well, recently I saw one you can get for about $12,000 in 9 months, right? However, if you can come and consistently sit down, be trained, role play, learn how to lead the client, how to be able to close the client appropriately. Then what happens is the confidence, as you talked about, it goes way up. And so you can get even young people, and this is for people who don't have a license. That's our preference of working with a non-licensed person, because they don't know about our industry, and we can bring them here and we can show them on their own pen or their own iPad through coming to live trainings. And so there again, if somebody's hiring me from California and I'm in Georgia, and it happens a lot, okay? I mean, you know it, you see it, but when they're in a classroom where people are training them, and then you say, okay, now you're gonna be assigned to this person, and then that person shows you what to do consistently, and then you go try it. You're gonna be bad before you're good and good before you're great, but that allows the people to really know how to close. So as I think Rodney or even Vince said, if you'll stay inside this system of UBI, we're gonna assist you in becoming successful, which is a big difference, because I see a lot of companies try this and try this and try this and try this, and especially during that time, I think they call it Medicaid, Medicare, whatever that thing is, right? You know, a lot of people. No, I'm very serious. As a financial consultant, and before I came here, I was making $400,000 or $500,000 a year before I came to Final Expense, and so they tried to get us to do that Medicare Advantage, but we saw it. You know, you have a secured license and certified financial plan and all that. You're pretty sophisticated. But when I saw that Medicare stuff, and you had to go up against people that lived in different zip codes and different doctors, and they had different medications and different type of backgrounds as far as their health, and you got to be so particular, we tried that for about 6 months. And once we were spending all the time necessary to really give that customer the right kind of plan, because some people retire from jobs, military, AT&T, different corporations that have supplemental benefits that you can keep after you leave your employment. And once you get them out of that, they can't go back. And so because we had value in the existing client, we wanted to make sure they were done right. And I hear so many horror stories about people just kind of jumping that because they perceive that to be an easy sale and close. And they don't know a lot of times they're maybe hurting that person. And so by training, so if you're in California and I'm in Georgia, and you expect to train me, it's not as effective. In UBI, consistently in our territories, we have those kind of live trainings consistently.
And Mr. President, with that being said, with Dr. Hawkins picking back off that, I mean, now it's becoming very popular for people to stand behind a camera and promote different programs. Different, you pay me to do this, and pay me to say, I'll teach you this and I'll teach you that, but they have no intentions on working hands-on with these individuals.
That's right.
And most of the time, those individuals that's doing it, they maybe they have some experience, but they don't have a track record where they can sit back and say that they are still doing it, and this is what I've done lately. And I can appreciate that about UBI because we have a CEO who's been doing this for over 50 years, who's earned his wealth and could be doing anything, but he's still in the trenches. He's still showing up to boot camp. He's still offering advice. He still is doing calls. He's not hiding behind a camera just to say, buy into my system. No, he's inviting you to where he can be hands-on and work with you within the system. So I think a lot of times where people struggle with that is because they don't know what questions to really ask these so-called gurus. And we don't need to be looking at what people are trying to label themselves as gurus. You need to be trying to find some do-rus.
Do-rus.
And these are the people that's still doing it.
That's right.
Not the people who stand behind a camera to say, this is what I once did or I once talked, or this is, we call that, me and one of my other partners, we said we was going to write a book about this, we call that Hollywooditis. It's what you used to do. That's what you did a while ago, but what are you doing for me lately? That's what we need to figure out. And so UBI has a bunch of right now. This is what we're doing right now. This is what we can teach you right now. This is what we can show you right now. And guess what? You don't have to pay me tens of thousands of dollars. To stand there, they get me an on-demand video to be able to.
Let me tell you, really it hurts me when I see insurance agents in the industry where they're paying these people $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, $6,000, $7,000, $10,000 for somebody to train you. And these people really, I'm not trying to be ugly or nothing, but I can't find nothing on them where they've ever written or they sustained.
Yeah.
Gurus.
Yeah, they're gurus, but I'm looking for the how you say it, the dudes? Durus. Yeah, the durus. Yeah, the durus. So it's really, and you know, that's one thing in our industry that really has changed since I got into it 20-something years ago, is that now, you know, anybody, you know, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, all that stuff, anybody can get on there and say anything without having the credentials.
No receipts.
To back it up.
Well, Mr.
Yes.
Wilson, you know, the thing is, people are paying for that
Exactly.
because they don't have a system and a culture to plug into.
Right.
What I was attracted to here is when you look at UBI, you know, all of the leaders, as he said, they're willing to guide you. So, Mr. Hawkins, Mr. Griffin, Mr. Spurgeon, they flew or came up to where I was. Even though they were winning, they were helping us. Matter of fact, you and your father, 2 months ago, took the jet. I made one call
Right.
to Mr. Wilson Sr., and you guys came.
Right.
Just like that. And so
Right.
the support and the culture here, and we didn't have to pay him to come to train us or pay you to come train.
Right.
So the culture inside of UBI is I haven't seen anything like this before. So that's why people who are not here, you know, they're looking at something and, hey, paying this because they don't have that support. And so that's the importance of this and what we're doing here to let people know, hey, you got support.
You know
said
now,
something about
I want to make this clear with y'all too now. Some of the celebrity speakers, and I won't call their names, I support, if you bring in a celebrity certified speaker, let's say a guy like Les Brown, Eric Thomas, no problem.
Yeah.
Those guys are legit to get you fired up, right? But I still don't understand how agents in our industry, and I've looked at some of the gurus, online insurance gurus, that are asking to be paid.
Do that with
these
air
high-
quotes. Do gurus with air quotes.
Yeah, gurus. Yeah, the gurus. They're not saying anything different than what we say for free.
Right.
Basically,
Yeah.
they've just taken it and spun it.
This stuff is hypothetical.
Right.
Right.
Okay, so I'm gonna say the guy's name, and y'all can.
Now they do.
You can edit this out later, but okay. So like I ask y'all all the time. I'm a little bit older. I'm a little bit older. I don't know who Logan Paul is. I mean, why is that? I mean, like, what has he ever done? But he's like all over. Yeah, okay, yeah, influence. So that's what I'm looking for. You have all these influencers, and they're great internet influencers. But can you really teach somebody how to close?
No.
You can entertain them. You can
what-
entertain them, and you can get somebody excited for a minute, right? Okay, but then if they don't have the proper system, the proper support, they're not going to sell. And we know now a lot of agents, they flame out the first 2 or 3 years. But here, that's something that we really at UBI, we try to fight that. We try to fight that and keep your career going.
Bobby touched on something I thought was I think one of the most powerful things that this company has is a success culture.
Right.
That's powerful. It's not just having the information, it's not just having the training, but I was sitting here, I'm looking around this table, right? And I'm like, there's almost like nobody around this table that I haven't called and had conversations or gotten information from. And you field trained one of my agents last week, and I've talked to Mr. Diggs on the phone, and I've talked to Mr. King on the phone, and you done walked up and down the driveway 20 times at 11 o'clock at night talking to you on the phone. I've talked. Now, Dell always sends me the voicemail and he calls me back. No, I'm just playing. No, he talks. But I've talked, and again, these very, very successful people, because other companies, other organizations, oftentimes success is like a game of hide and go seek. Like nobody's really sharing with
Right.
the other up and coming people how they got there.
Right.
But from our CEO on down, everybody shares. I've talked to your dad on the phone, talked to you on the phone. Like it is a very unique and special situation that we have here. And that's why I tell people all the time, I say, I love what I do and I love who I do it with every single day. And it's because of the culture here. It's a shared success here.
Right.
It's
Can
a
we kill the
shared
elephant in
success.
the room that we know? Because people that watch this, they're going to research UBI and they'll say, well, no, you all do charge for training. You all, that boot camp. No, that boot camp is, and for anybody that's watching this, that if you have a problem investing in yourself,
Right.
to make sure that you got some skin in the game where you're going to be able to go out here and make hundreds of thousands of dollars, then we have a problem with you.
Well, even more important, let's go one step further, because Vince, I don't want people to understand. If you're watching this and you don't have the money to pay for the discount price of
Right.
our incredible training,
Right.
10% of the cost for $300,
Correct.
then we'll pay it for you, okay?
Right.
Because we don't want that to be the reason why you don't get educated.
Right.
That's right.
Okay, and so when we talk about what we do, okay, there are people, there's boot camp going on right now, okay? And there are 3 people that would have the money, okay, to go to boot camp, but they were tight finances, okay? So we just called the man and said, we'll take care of it because it's important for them to get the training.
Exactly.
Okay?
And I do that.
So that's not the issue. What we're talking about is the person that wants you to come to talk to them and pay them a subscription and a fee.
Right.
And so much money for a 10-point system
Right.
about, how to stay married, but they don't have a spouse.
Right.
Because it happens so many times in the everybody's a coach, because as you mentioned,
Right.
it's all,
Right.
community's gotten small.
Right.
And so what I say to people, I say, look, ask the question,
Right.
how long have they been connected, okay? Where can I find a 30-year person that's connected, okay? Where can I find a person who's been 12 years, a person who's been for life, a person who's been 7, 8 years?
Right.
And we don't see that. And
Right.
so what I ask people, I said, well, tell me, because we get lots of conversations, tell me how long have they been there, okay, number one. Number two, how many women are winning, okay? Because this is a chauvinistic kind of a deal, okay? And then for the people that may look like me, how many people look like me? They may have some people look like him, you understand that? But who's the person look like me? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yes.
And then more importantly, this is a big one, okay? Is the faith element in place?
Yes.
Yes. Because a lot of times they say, man, I don't want to talk about that. Well, wait a minute. Why don't you want to talk about that?
Right.
We're building relationships and we're doing life together.
Right.
And so a lot of times people just want to get you in and move real fast and they don't really care what happens. I mean, I consult, okay, people that make $1 million a year in this industry. I get phone calls every day from those kind of people. And I'm trying to help them land in the right place.
Right.
But they don't have a UBI.
Right. Right.
Okay?
Right.
I mean, I'm just being honest with
Right,
you. I mean,
right.
you know that, you talk to them too. So.
Yeah, I talk to him all the time too.
And
So-
just to echo what Dr. Hawkins is saying, I've not been in the insurance industry for long. Total, probably less than 5 years. But I do know that for me and my success, it's been because you have to connect with the right IMO. People that are maybe having difficulty or struggling out there because they're letting too many people talk to them. They got
Right.
too many people in their ear. But you have to find the right IMO that has your best benefit in mind. And I can honestly say that when we came here to Universal Benefits, it was at a time in my life that I'd already gone through being let go for no reason, not getting my pension, been on the other side of being a broker, with I think probably 8 to 10 different contracts and not making any money when I'm accustomed to making money. And when I came here, I was like, God, Pat, I got to start over. But then a wise man said to me, but you're not starting over if you're not going anywhere right now. So we can stay where we're at and not do nothing and work the same amount but not make any money, or you can give it a try. And just as Mr. Wormley said, that when I met with Dr. Woods, and that's the key thing, he'll meet with somebody that don't make no money and show you the plan. He gave us the blueprint. When he showed me and he said, if you do this, You didn't got to be the top producer. Just do 15,000 consistently. You'll make this, and your residual will grow. And it has proven. I am a prime example of the fact that I am over 60. I started over, but this company has given me the confidence. I've never sold any insurance. They gave me the confidence. They gave me the training to make sure that I can be successful. So I'm looking at, I can be Mrs. Cynthia Hawkins. I know that, you know, because we do have a lady here that's making the money, you know, arguing about trying to figure out what car to drive. I mean, I'm like, what kind of problem is that? Give me that problem, you know? And so that's just so powerful for me, because it's not just a man industry. I might be the only woman here.
Yeah.
But you know what? We make a difference in this company.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I know that
yes,
we're
yes.
the ones out there doing
Oh,
the
yeah,
thing with
yeah,
y'all.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
and this
Yeah.
started as a man industry, but you know what? We're out there doing it. We're going door to door. We're training. We're recruiting. We're building also, and that's so powerful, because I can see in the next 10 years that I'm gonna be there with Mr. Diggs doing my pay increasing 100,000 every year.
Exactly.
Yeah. I'm there. I can see it.
That's right.
I can see it.
So you guys, we got a couple of more minutes. We got about 20 more minutes on the Zoom. So 2 other elephants in the room that I want to discuss. Because there are a lot of young agents. When I say young agents, I'm not just talking not just youth, age-wise, but just somebody who may just got a license last year. They've been in the business 2 years. Now, let's talk for a second about brokering. And I know this can probably rub some people the wrong way, but people don't know this about UBI. The name Universal Benefits comes from the agency. When it was started back in the 80s, we had every product under the sun. We did final expense, we did term, we did universal life, we did IULs, you know, the hot thing now, IULs, right? We did a little Medicare, we did payroll deduction. You all, if it was insurance, we did it, okay? But what we quickly found out was when we narrowed the focus into a couple of niche markets, our sales skyrocketed, and the agents were not as confused. We even had some companies, and I was fortunate enough to see it coming. Many of the carriers we were working with, they went bankrupt and went insolvent overnight. Okay,
That's right.
Okay, we had a couple of them, 3 or 4 of them. I can think right off the top of our head. So we kind of narrowed our focus into with strong carriers, right? And we narrowed it into a niche. Now, how do you feel about what is your opinion if you were talking to a brand new agent about people who jump around all over the place and you're brokering and trying to do all this stuff?
Well, we had those conversations because every week we're talking to brand new prospective agents or agents who have come from other companies, and when you start talking to them about actually building any momentum in their business, the reason why they're talking to me is because what they're doing is not working, right? So they're working with this company, working up here with that company, and then when you start talking about income, that's when the room gets a little quiet. They don't really want to talk about it because at the end of the day, they're not making the money, you know. But they got a lot of different options they can offer, but it's not affording them more options in their finances or in their life,
Right.
you know. So being a specialist, and that's one thing in the UBI presentation, the opportunity we talk about being a specialist. We are specialists in the final expense industry, and that simplicity is extremely profitable, you know, and it allows us to build, you know, we're not talking exact numbers. There's a lot of residual money around this table. I know that for a fact, you know what I mean? But it's for us to have the ability to specialize and actually build something and build that momentum in your business. And when people come in, Mr. President, they are overwhelmed by the simplicity of it. The fact that they can just get to work. You know, it doesn't take you all, take you all a month to figure this out. It's a simple system, it's a powerful system, and it's an extremely profitable system. And you don't have to memorize 20, 30, 40 different products.
Right.
Right. It's simple and powerful.
Right.
And so I love it. I love talking about it.
What about you, Miss Patricia? Just
Same
brokering all over the
thing.
place.
You know, it is because as a broker, you go into a house And you're never really trained on all those products, you just have them there. And then you find yourself talking yourself out of selling and closing because you're trying to figure out which one do I close with? And even as a broker, if they go back and look, they really have one or two that they write with. That's basically it, because they're familiar with it, they understand it, and give them what they want. They just got all that other stuff in a bag, and they don't even use it. You know, and then that stuff don't pay out, because when you have to add up 8 different 1099s to figure out you only made $40,000, when you can get one to say you made 200 and something, that's a big difference to me. That's a big difference to me.
That sounds better to me.
Yeah.
Bobby, I know when you didn't really start your career brokering, but I know you talk to a lot of people brokering, and there's nothing wrong. You know, people and independent agents, they can have as many contracts as they want. UBI, is anybody around this table captive? No, nobody's captive. We're just captivating everybody here because they want to be here. But talk about that a little bit.
Really, what I looked at is, you know, my mentor here, Mr. Hawkins, and Dr. Wilson, I asked them the same question. You know, I heard about all the different products. You know, I've never been a broker. I'm not knocking that.
Right, yeah.
But they said stick to this one thing, final expense. And something that they both said to me are, you know, there's all these different products, but how many people are gonna die, right? And that's 100%. So 100% of people need what we have. And so because of that, it's something that what we have everyone needs. It's a simple product to share. It's a simple product to understand. And if you're building an agency, it's a simple product to duplicate with your agents so they can learn and they can go out here and share. They don't have to learn 15, 20 different things. And so what I found is just following, you know, what those gentlemen said, it gets to the results a lot faster.
Right.
So that's how I feel about
Yeah. Coach K?
Yeah, you know, I've been around for a while, even, you know, just kind of, and I think that's why I'm able now to just say I'm settled with understanding the importance of why having something that's in a niche market or something that you focus on makes a difference. And it's simply because I know that just in my history of seeing agents try to really understand this industry, it's hard for people to walk and chew gum at the same time.
Right.
Like really, and so whenever you're putting all these things out for them, it's their income. I think it just boils down to your income is not predictable, because every company has a different way that they pay. Every carrier has a different way that they pay out the renewals, if they even get renewals. Every IMO has a way contractually that they can extract your renewals. There's commitment issues when you deal with a lot of people who are brokering, especially if they're brokering. Like the this person that I was speaking with, the IMO that he's a part of, said flat out today that he never wanted to get into agency building because on average the renewals that the company pays is on average of like 3%. And he said just for agency building, the average percentage that they get off of building an agency is about 3% spread. So he never had a desire to want to build. So he didn't feel that he felt that his income would be more controllable by what he was able to do and focusing on the few products that he was able to focus on. And so I think that whenever you have something that you can zone in on, and UBI still gives us that flexibility, say this product is our go-to product, but just so you don't have to feel the urge to have to go outside of what we already, the covering that we have here, we still have a place where you can place those people. And I think that's more controllable, and it makes it less confusing to not have commitment issues, because we're committed to the success of what UBI is doing.
Right.
And our goal is to be able to help UBI to get to their goal, because UBI has promised us that if we are working the system, they're going to help us to get to our goal. So it's a mutual relationship.
It's right. You know, when we first started out here at UBI, we had all that stuff within the sun.
Yes, sir. And, oh my God, we had a ton of stuff. And as you said, Mr. Perez, when we cut the fat and we went 1 or 2 different directions, it went up 1,000%. More happy,
Right.
more income.
Simple.
easier. And we were able to find a 7-page, 7-question application in the insurance industry. You know, we were digging through everything,
Right.
we couldn't find it for years.
Right.
But we were able to find that broker. And I talked to a lady yesterday. She's out of Columbia. She'll be visiting with us tomorrow, but she's a broker. And sometimes I think it's for the newer agent, it's a little misleading because a newer agent is looking for probably an opportunity. They're looking to earn finances and earn a living. So as a broker, Dr. Hawkins, I explained to a client that you can have multiple products and you can sell this and sell this and sell this and sell this. And inside that new agent's mind, now they got it all, and they can make, you know, I won't lose the sale because I got this one, this one, this one, this one. So really, in their mind, the brokering deal is money, finances. I can gain a large sum of income, but it's really reverse.
Right.
It's really reversed, and I think it's a little misleading to the younger agents that's in the business that's brokering, because I personally just believe that any agent is probably there for a financial gain as well as to help a client. But I think if we had to weigh it, if we have to truly weigh it on a scale, I think it's going to weigh more towards that agent earning a financial living and helping that client. So for anyone that's brokering out there, and that's where you are, and that's what you're doing, and you don't really understand or you don't really know, I mean, we're here. We're here to talk to you about that. Cut the fat, come with one simple direction, and watch your income go from 40 to 240,000 in the same year.
Yeah.
So,
Dr. Hall.
Mr. President, I want to come from the other side of what Rodney's talking about. And if you're a broker, first of all, it sounds good, okay? And it can be good. I ask people this because I made millions of dollars in that space. And when I came to UBI, the day I made $380,000. And mentorship, asking for that, Dr. Wilson said, well, if you're going to do this, you got to stop doing all that. You know, the hardest thing for people to do is to understand they think that they're leaving something. But when you see examples of other people that are having great success, and my deal was to make $1 million and go on vacation, okay, and I had 10 years to do it, and it took me 7.5 years to get to that $1 million. You can be a successful broker. You need a service assistant, you need a sales assistant, you need a person who's going to do your programs, your proposals for you with the various different companies, and then you need an office. Okay, so when I talk to people, they say they're brokers. I said, well, where's your office? And they said, well, I don't have an office. My bedroom. I said, okay. I said, so who's your service assistant? They said, what you mean? Well, you got to have somebody who's going to service the business, because as a broker, I got to get all this stuff approved. Okay, and who's your sales assistant? Okay, because somebody's going to have to help you get these appointments, because these clients fit over here, and these clients fit over here, and these clients fit over here. And then who's going to do the proposals for you? Okay, does that make sense? Okay, and if you've got 2 or 3 companies for each particular product that you're selling, you're working with 12 different companies. Right. Okay, so who's going to be the person who's going to keep up with all the password codes and login information? Okay, and the requirements. And then most importantly, okay, you're never going to build any kind of power with any company because you spread it out.
Right.
Okay.
Business is spread out.
And so if you don't have that in place, you're not going to be, if you're being a broker and you're not talking about making $300,000 a year,
Right.
you have to shut it down, because those people I just mentioned, they come with a salary.
Yeah.
Okay. And you need to pay them, and they need to be confident, they need to be good. And so when people tell me that they're brokers, I look at them and I said, okay. I asked those 2 questions, and I said, well, think about it for a second, okay? Your life has to be total chaos. Okay? No, I'm very serious. Because part of success is simplifying your life.
Yeah, that's right.
And so when you come to, as Vince mentioned, the oneness of UBI, the simplicity of UBI, now I don't have to have a service assistant. I'm talking about the brokers, okay? I don't have a sales assistant. I don't have a computer programmer person, because I got the 7 questions on one piece of paper, okay? And then I don't even need a computer to fill the rate card out, okay? And so it's a very simple system for duplication. And so when people say brokers, they kind of think that they're gonna get a lot of people to join them. And so what happens is they have a lot of what I call community agents. They say, I got 30 people on my team. Well, I got 30 on my team, but the same 30 that's on Chris' team and on your team, they're community agents. And so for me, okay, when I have the conversation, because I'm really interested in how I can help you to be successful as a broker. But if you don't have those things in place, I recommend them to look at something different.
That's right. That's right. Chris?
Two things. One, coming from 20 plus years in the real estate world, the first thing I wanted, my good friend Mr. Tank Black, when he introduced me to you guys, and to Dr. Hawkins, first thing I said was, I don't want anything complicated. Real estate contract, 16 pages, all that means is there's 16 pages of ways you can screw this contract up, right? He said, no, it's 1 page. I said, you're kidding. He said, no, it's 1 page. I said, all right, well, so we need more products than just this one.
Right.
And they told me the same thing. They knew I'm a hunter. And so the first thing he said was, do you go farther with a rifle or a shotgun? I said, well, a rifle. He said, well, that's this business. You just have 1 bullet and it goes much further. I said, okay. He said, and think about this. He said, do you know any physicians? I said, yeah, I've got quite a few friends. He said, what kind of physicians? I said, well, I've got one that's a heart surgeon, I've got one that's a neurosurgeon, and I've got one that is a general practitioner. He said, which one makes more money? I said, well, I don't know exactly, but I know the heart surgeon and the neurosurgeon make way more money than the general practitioner. He said, well, think about that as a brokerage, because the general practitioner has to know a little bit of everything, and therefore they don't pay him as much. The ones that are specialized, those are the ones that make all the money. And I said, okay, that makes sense. And it's what I found here as well.
That's right. That's right. That's exactly. That's an awesome analogy, and that's what I learned too. People think, oh, I just jumped in the final expense when I started. No, I was out there selling term insurance, mortgage protection. I was doing disability. I was doing some of everything. But when I did, I looked down. My first 3 or 4 years in the industry, I looked down at my Dalton 1099s, and the ones that were mostly selling final expense, they were bigger than the other 1099. So I kind of figured it out. And the simplicity of dealing with the seniors, and I'm not knocking, I used to do annuities and all that stuff, and that's great. My big thing is with people, be great at something.
Amen.
Whatever your calling is, be great at something, whether it's annuities, Medicare, IULs. Do that and be extremely great at it. But when you're jumping here, you may be good at a few things or a lot of things, but you're not going to be great in anything. So, next elephant on the table, you guys. Well, actually, it's 2, and we'll continue this series, but we want to wrap it up. But the next thing, you all in the industry, a huge problem. Agents don't understand their contracts. That is one of the biggest things in our industry that really bothers me. Maybe because I've been sheltered, maybe because I've been just very fortunate. The carriers that we work with, they are great, honest people. And again, from Dr. Wilson from the top, honest guy. There's so many agents in our industry. They're good agents. They're good closers. They're good people. They're level 10 agents, but they have a level 0 contract. And I'm not just talking about on the front end of the commission, but I'm talking about mostly on the back end. A company or IMO that some people contacted me, I didn't contact them. Assigned commissions, does everybody around the table know what assigned commissions are? Assigned commissions are when an agent is licensed with an IMO. They're not licensed directly with the carrier. So when they go out and write a sale, let's say if they're on a 50% contract or they can be on a 100%, the commission comes to the IMO and the IMO pays you. Yeah, they pay you. There's no way ain't no way I would ever be on an assigned commission contract. I don't care how free your leads are. I don't care how many live calls you can get me. I don't care, you holding all the chargebacks and doing all that stuff. Assigned commissions, that's not something that I would strongly urge a strong agent. So have you seen, you all, and we can kind of open it up here, on agents not understanding their contracts?
Can I say it? And I'll let the big dog start. But I just had a conversation with a young man a couple days ago, and he was a lead that we received, an agent lead that we received, and he was playing phone tag back and forth with me. So by the time I got to him, he had already talked to another company. And he said, Mr. Wormley, I've already made a decision to go with another company and all this kind of stuff. And I said, okay. I said, well, listen. I said, how old are you? He said, well, I'm 28. I said, okay. I said, I've got 3 sons older than you. I said, do you mind if I just give you some advice? I said, I'm not trying to sell you on us or anything like that. I just want to give you advice. I said, how many other companies have you looked at? And he said, well, no, this was the only company that I looked at. I said, okay. I said, the advice I'm going to give you is you need to look at all your options. And then you can make an informed decision as to what makes sense for you. So I invited him onto one of our webinars. I said, nobody's going to be on there hyping you and all that kind of stuff. We're just going to give you the information, give you the facts. I want you to take the information, I want you to compare it to what you got from another company, and then you make the decision that you think is best for you. I think he just got married. It's best for you and best for your wife and your family. So he said, okay, I think that's good advice. So he got onto our webinar. He called me, because I told him he'd call me the next day. He called me that night, and he said, Mr. Wormley, he said, man, this is going to sound over dramatic, but he said, but I think you saved my life. Because a lot of people, Mr. President, a lot of people don't know what they don't know.
Right.
And the very first thing to do is just believe what people are going to tell them. And unfortunately, there are a lot of people out here that just don't tell the truth, or they embellish what it is that exactly. We don't have to do that. And that's one thing that I love so much about being here. I can just tell people the truth. This is exactly what it is. This is exactly what we do. This is exactly who we are. And guess what? It's going to be that way this year. It's going to be that way next year. It was this way 44 years ago. This is who we are. And when people can really evaluate and look at what we offer, look at the fact that when I go over my commission training with my agents, I want them to go through the contract. We go through that commission page line by line.
Right.
So when they get their commissions, their first couple of commissions, we calculate it to the penny. And guess what they find out? It comes out to the penny every single time. So now they can go with confidence, right? That guess what? This company is going to do exactly what they said they're going to do every single time. But the unfortunate thing is a lot of these folks who are going with these other companies and not really ask, they don't even know what questions to ask.
Right.
They don't even go, nobody sits down and goes through the numbers with them.
Right.
Because they don't know what numbers they're going to get either. Right. So having the system that we have in place, the contracts that we have in place, and the people can count on the contract. The company, UBI is going to do what they say they're going to do. A lot of people like me, that matters.
Yeah.
That matters to me.
I want to say this, you're 1,000% right, correct. Unfortunately, Ted, there's no expectation for anything beyond the money they're going to get on Friday. And so when there's nobody that can say, I have an as-earned check that I get, we call ours, pat and pay through, that's $1,000 or $2,000 or $5,000 a month. It's a conversation that never comes up. And so the insurance company, okay, and the IMO, okay, if it's something that's never going to come up and nobody's getting it, there's really nothing that they have to talk about.
Right.
So they're never led to even look at the contract, to read it. And so they don't know what's in there. And the industry and the IMOs, I call it the circus and the fair, and smoke and mirrors. Because what the big writing gives, the little writing takes away.
Right.
And so we ask people to, maybe you don't want to go through the monotony of reading the contract. So what I would do is say, okay, now who in here has been here for 3, 4, 5 years? 10 years maybe. And if they hadn't been here and the company's 40 years old or 30 years old, why don't people stay, number one? But number two, how much is their monthly earnings? Because that's gonna give you an understanding of, does this company pay you one time, or do they pay you over and over again for paying the clients? Because the insurance companies get very rich by collecting premiums and trying not to pay. And the IMOs get very rich by getting you to get clients, and you never get anything on the back end for it. So I don't think it's a matter of the people not wanting to know. I think it's a matter of there's so much going on that they don't ever believe that they're supposed to get it. Now, in all fairness, I've been in the business 25 years before I came here, okay? And I did securities pretty sophisticated, but none of the contracts were giving us back-end money. So after writing millions and millions of dollars in business, 90% of that money was always first-year money, and we were pretty good at it. And so I don't think it's a matter of people not wanting to know. I think it's a matter of them just going so fast through the process that it's never asked. And so what we recommend, what I recommend to people, is sit down and ask the questions and find out, you know, I didn't read the contract, put it aside. Now, who's getting monthly earnings? And if nobody's getting monthly earnings, then you gotta say, okay, well, what am I gonna do about my 10-year career? Like you asked the gentleman, you know, 10 years from today, what's my monthly money gonna look like? And if there is none, it's okay. And if you do that other thing, that I don't know, I forgot. Right? Medicare. Yeah, if you do that program, all the real earnings belong to the IMO. And so if you're not the IMO, you're probably not gonna get your money. And so I know that with UBI, there are people that have been not with me for whatever reason for 8-10 years, and they're still getting a check every month. Okay. I know that I'd like to not give them that money, but you know, we say, you know, promise made, promise kept.
Promise made, promise kept. And Dale, there's a lot of people that's retired from UBI that haven't written a sale here, Rodney, in years. They're still getting their renewals. Sure. You want to chime in?
Just because there's two facets that you're talking about. You're talking about the person who's on the very low assigned contracts, where they're basically getting a salary somewhat from the IMO, and the IMO's keeping all their renewals, and so they kind of ingrain that into them. And then there's the other person who has little to no experience, who's hearing the buzz about, oh, you should be on a higher contract, but they have no lead system. There's no way for them to. They got to go kill everything that they want to eat, and they have no knowledge, no training to be able to how to do that. Where I tell agents here that when you look at a Lincoln contract, you can't compare it to any other type of contract, because the way UBI has the contract structure is that if you work it right, you're going to get 100% of your money.
Right.
You're not going to get. It's going to be so much where it's balanced out, where you're going to get enough to be able to take care of your bills and your expenses with your advances, but you're also going to be able to start seeing how your retirement or your pension is going to be building up every single month. And then if you want to get into agency building, then you're able to see how the wealth can start being generated through other people's efforts on top of your own. And so not really understanding in full your contract in totality, or finding a contract that I like to call is a complete balanced contract. There's going to be lopsided, but UBI has a balanced contract.
Right.
And if you're going to survive in this industry, you know that to survive in life, there has to be some type of balance that you have. You can't be too high, too low, and either you got to have something that's here. And I think that that's what yourself, Dr. Wilson, has taught us as leaders, to make sure that you're not able to just talk to people about upfront commission, but talk to people about what the total commission, their total contract is. So that way, when they look at the totality of what they're working towards, they can see it on the front and the back end.
Got it. You all, hey, this has been a great podcast. We're going to shut this down for this evening. I appreciate all of your expertise here. At some point, we're going to invite you all back. In the other big gorilla that we did not get to tackle tonight, but we're going to tackle it, is leads in our industry. Leads. Why are we number one in final expense? It was because our lead program, how we train, and the thousands and thousands of exclusive, fresh, qualified leads that we generate for agents year after year. We've been using the same lead source and tweaking and development for the past 25 years here at UBI. And it's not a gimmick. These aren't gimmick leads. Agents throughout the industry that I talk to, thousands. You know what they're sick and tired of? Bait and switch leads. We can talk about that next volume of our podcast. Good evening, y'all.
Thank you, Mr.
Thanks a lot.